Marcus Thompson adjusted his tie in the car mirror and smiled at his wife Jennifer in the passenger seat. 15 years. Can you believe it? Jennifer laughed, checking her lipstick. Some days it feels like yesterday, other days it feels like we've been married forever. From the back seat, their 8-year-old daughter Mia piped up. Are we really eating at a fancy restaurant, like with cloth napkins? Yes, baby, Jennifer said. Your dad made reservations at the nicest steakhouse in Austin. It's a special night. Their 10-year-old son, Caleb, looked nervous. Do I have to use all the forks? I don't remember which one goes first. Marcus met his son's eyes in the rearview mirror. Start from the outside and work your way in. And don't worry, we're there to celebrate, not to stress. Just enjoy yourself. It was Friday evening, and Marcus had taken the afternoon off from his job as a senior health inspector for the city of Austin. He'd worked in public health for 16 years, the last 8 as one of the department's lead inspectors responsible for overseeing restaurants, food trucks, and catering operations across the city. His reputation was impeccable, his inspections thorough but fair, and restaurant owners generally respected his professionalism. Tonight, though, he wasn't thinking about health codes or violation notices. Tonight was about celebrating his anniversary with the woman he loved and creating a special memory for their kids. He'd chosen Belmont Steakhouse carefully. It had excellent reviews, a reputation for quality food and service, and most importantly, they'd assured him when he called that they were family-friendly, despite being upscale. The hostess had been warm on the phone, confirming his reservation for 4 at 7 p.m. under Thompson. Marcus pulled up to the valet stand at 6:52 p.m. The restaurant occupied a renovated historic building in downtown Austin, its brick facade lit with elegant spotlights. Through the large windows, Marcus could see white tablecloths, crystal stemware, and well-dressed diners. The valet, a young Latino man, greeted them warmly. "Good evening, folks. Enjoying this beautiful weather?" "We are now," Marcus replied, handing over his keys. "We've got a special celebration tonight. Congratulations, you'll love Belmont. Best steaks in Austin." The family walked to the entrance, Mia holding Jennifer's hand, and Caleb walking beside Marcus. They'd all dressed up for the occasion. Marcus in pressed khakis and a button-down shirt, Jennifer in an elegant navy dress, and the kids in their Sunday best. Marcus held the door for his family, and they stepped into the restaurant's entrance foyer. The space was designed to impress: mahogany host stand, leather waiting benches, a wine display case showcasing expensive bottles, soft jazz played through hidden speakers, and the air smelled of grilled meat and expensive cologne. A man stood behind the host stand, reviewing the reservation book. He was in his mid-40s, wearing an expensive black suit with a Belmont name pin. His dark hair was styled with precision, and his posture radiated authority. As the Thompson family approached, his expression shifted almost imperceptibly, a tightening around the eyes, a slight stiffening of his shoulders. Marcus had seen that look before: the calculation, the judgment, the decision being made based on nothing but appearance. "Good evening," Marcus said pleasantly. "We have a reservation for Thompson, party of 4, 7 o'clock. The manager, whose name tag read Brian Foster, general manager, didn't immediately check the reservation book. Instead, his eyes moved from Marcus to Jennifer, to the children, assessing. "Thompson," Brian repeated, his tone flat. He made a show of running his finger down the reservation list, moving slowly. "I'm not seeing a Thompson here." Marcus felt Jennifer tense beside him. "I called 3 days ago and spoke with someone. They confirmed the reservation and sent me a confirmation email." "Do you have that email?" Brian's tone suggested he doubted its existence. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened his email, showing the confirmation. "Right here, 7 p.m., party of 4, Thompson." Brian glanced at the screen briefly. "I see. Well, sometimes there are technical errors with our online system. Unfortunately, I don't have you in the book, and we're completely full tonight." Marcus looked past Brian into the dining room. He could see at least 3 empty tables. "Those tables appear to be available." "Those are reserved," Brian said quickly. "Later seating." Jennifer spoke up, her voice calm but firm. "Sir, we have a confirmed reservation. We drove 30 minutes to get here. It's our anniversary. Is there really no way to accommodate us?" Brian's expression remained cold. "I wish I could help, but without a reservation in our system, there's nothing I can do. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at one of the chain restaurants. There's a Texas Roadhouse about a mile from here, very family-friendly." The implication was clear, not explicitly racist, but coded in language anyone who'd experienced discrimination would recognize. You don't belong here. Go somewhere more appropriate for people like you. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Caleb had noticed the tension and was looking up at him with worried eyes. Mia had moved closer to Jennifer. "Let me be very clear," Marcus said, his voice still controlled. "We have a confirmed reservation. You have empty tables. Are you refusing to serve us?" Brian's mask of professional courtesy slipped slightly, revealing irritation. "Sir, I've explained the situation. We're fully booked. I can't seat you without a reservation. Even though I'm showing you proof of a reservation, that confirmation appears to be an error. Perhaps you made a reservation at a different Belmont location." "There is no other Belmont location," Marcus pointed out. "This is the only one in Austin." Brian's patience was clearly exhausted. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're blocking the entrance and disturbing our guests." Jennifer put her hand on Marcus's arm, her touch a signal. "Let's go. Don't make this worse. Protect the kids." Marcus looked at his children. Caleb's confusion was morphing into understanding, the painful realization that they were being turned away not because of a reservation error, but because of who they were. Mia was close to tears. "We're leaving," Marcus said quietly. Then he looked directly at Brian. "But this isn't over." Brian's expression showed satisfaction. "Have a good evening." The Thompson family walked out of the restaurant. The valet brought their car around, noting the short duration with concern. "Everything okay, sir?" "No," Marcus said, tipping him anyway. "But it will be." Inside the car, the family sat in silence for a moment. Then Mia asked the question Marcus had been dreading. "Daddy, why didn't they let us eat there? Was it because we're black?" Marcus met Jennifer's eyes. They'd had versions of this conversation before, but never quite like this. Never after being explicitly turned away from a restaurant while dressed in their best clothes with a confirmed reservation. "Yes, baby," Marcus said, his voice gentle but honest. "I think that's exactly why." Caleb's hands were clenched in his lap. "That's not fair. We had a reservation. You showed him the email." "You're right, son. It's not fair, and it's not legal either." Jennifer turned in her seat to face the kids. "Sometimes people make judgments about others based on how they look instead of who they are. It's wrong, and it hurts, but it happens. So what do we do?" Caleb asked. Marcus started the engine but didn't put the car in drive yet. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Hey, Robert, it's Marcus Thompson. Sorry to bother you on a Friday night, but I need you to pull up our database. Belmont Steakhouse on 6th Street. When was their last health inspection?" A pause. Marcus listened to the response, his expression darkening. 6 months ago. They're due for a routine follow-up." Another pause. "Yeah, I know it's after hours, but I'm invoking emergency inspection authority. I have reason to believe there may be immediate health code violations that require investigation." Jennifer's eyes widened. She knew what Marcus was doing. "I'll be there in 10 minutes. Can you have the documentation sent to my phone?" "Thanks." Marcus ended the call and looked at his family. "Here's what's going to happen. I'm dropping you all off at home, and then I'm going back to Belmont Steakhouse, not as a customer, as a health inspector." "Marcus," Jennifer said carefully, "are you sure? Is this about the inspection or about what just happened?" "It's about both," Marcus replied honestly. "That manager discriminated against us, but he also made me think about something. If he's willing to violate civil rights laws so blatantly, what other corners is he cutting? What health codes is he ignoring when he thinks no one's watching?" He pulled out of the parking lot and headed toward their home in the suburbs. "Every restaurant in Austin is subject to health inspections. Belmont is due for their routine follow-up. The fact that I'm conducting it tonight after what just happened, that's not retaliation. That's me doing my job. But will it look like retaliation?" Jennifer asked. "Maybe, but if I find violations, they're violations regardless of when I find them. And if I don't find violations, then he's running a clean establishment and nothing happens except he gets his routine inspection done." Caleb leaned forward. "Dad, are you going to shut down the restaurant?" "I'm going to inspect the restaurant," Marcus corrected. "If they're in compliance with health codes, they stay open. If they're not, there are consequences. Just like there should be consequences for discrimination." He dropped Jennifer and the kids at home, with promises to explain everything later. Then he drove back downtown, stopping at his office to pick up his inspection equipment, official documentation, and his city-issued badge and credentials. By the time Marcus arrived back at Belmont Steakhouse at 8:15 p.m., the dinner rush was in full swing. He parked in a public spot this time, gathered his clipboard and inspection kit, and walked to the entrance. Brian Foster was still at the host stand, now seating a white couple with effusive warmth. He looked up as Marcus entered, and his face went through several expressions in rapid succession: recognition, confusion, and then concern as he saw the official City of Austin badge on Marcus's belt. "I'm Marcus Thompson, Senior Health Inspector with the City of Austin Department of Public Health," Marcus said formally, showing his credentials. "I'm here to conduct a routine health and safety inspection of this establishment." Brian's face had gone pale. "This isn't a good time. We're in the middle of dinner service. Health inspections don't require advance notice and can be conducted at any time during operating hours," Marcus stated, pulling out his documentation. "You're required by law to provide me full access to all areas of the restaurant, including kitchen, storage, and food preparation areas." "Of course," Brian stammered, "but this is unusual timing, is it?" Marcus met his eyes steadily. "Because according to our records, you're 6 months past due for your routine follow-up inspection. That's actually a violation in itself." He started walking toward the kitchen. "You can accompany me, or I can conduct the inspection independently. Your choice." Brian followed, now visibly sweating. "Mr. Thompson, about earlier, if there was any misunderstanding." "Right now, we're not discussing earlier," Marcus said. "Right now, I'm conducting a health inspection, unless you have something you'd like to report about your food safety practices." The kitchen was bustling with activity. Chefs moved between stations. Orders were being plated. Servers rushed in and out. Marcus began his inspection methodically, checking temperatures, examining food storage, reviewing preparation practices, and he found violations. Multiple violations. The first was in the walk-in refrigerator. Raw chicken stored above ready-to-eat salad greens, a critical violation that could lead to cross-contamination and foodborne illness. The second was at the grill station. A chef's thermometer showed internal temperatures of steaks that fell below required safety standards for medium-rare preparation. The third was in the dry storage area. Opened containers of flour and sugar without proper labels or date markings. Marcus documented each violation with photos and detailed notes. He checked hand-washing stations and found one with water that wasn't maintaining proper temperature. He examined the dish pit and found sanitizer concentration below required levels. Brian followed him through the entire inspection, his confidence evaporating with each violation Marcus documented. These are minor issues," Brian tried. "We can fix them immediately. These are health code violations," Marcus corrected. "Some are minor, some are critical. Together they paint a picture of an establishment that's not maintaining proper food safety protocols." He continued through the kitchen, the prep areas, the storage rooms. By the time he finished, he documented 17 violations, including 4 critical ones that posed immediate health risks. Marcus returned to the dining room and requested a manager's office for his paperwork. Brian led him to a small office off the main floor, where Marcus filled out his official inspection report. "Based on the violations I've documented tonight," Marcus said, "this establishment is being issued a score of 72 out of 100. That's below the required 85 for continued operation." Brian's face went white. "You're shutting us down. I'm suspending your permit to operate until the violations are corrected and a re-inspection confirms compliance. You have 24 hours to remedy the critical violations before requesting re-inspection." Marcus handed Brian the official notice. "You'll need to post this in a visible location and cease all food service operations immediately. Any customers currently dining may finish their meals, but no new orders can be taken. This is because of earlier," Brian said desperately. "You're punishing me for..." "I'm enforcing health codes," Marcus said firmly. "Every violation I documented exists regardless of any other interaction we may have had. You can request a different inspector for your re-inspection if you believe I'm biased. But the violations are real. They're documented with photographic evidence, and they require correction." He stood up. "You have my contact information on the paperwork. When you've addressed the violations, call our office to schedule re-inspection. If you disagree with my findings, you have the right to appeal through the proper channels." Marcus walked out of the office, through the now confused dining room, where servers were explaining to patrons that the restaurant was closing, and out into the Austin night. He sat in his car for a moment, processing everything: the discrimination, the inspection, the violations, the consequences. His phone rang. It was Jennifer. "How did it go?" "I found violations," Marcus said. "Real ones, critical ones. The restaurant is shut down until they fix them. So it wasn't just retaliation." "No. If anything, his discrimination made me wonder what else he was cutting corners on, and I was right to wonder." Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "How do you feel?" Marcus thought about it, satisfied, "Not because I got revenge, but because I did my job. Those health code violations could have made people sick. By discovering them tonight, I prevented potential harm. And the discrimination, that's a separate issue. I'm filing a formal complaint with the city's Human Rights Office tomorrow. What he did was illegal, and there should be consequences beyond just failing a health inspection." The next morning, Marcus sat at his kitchen table, filling out a discrimination complaint form. He detailed the interaction, included the confirmation email, and noted Brian Foster's specific statements and actions. Jennifer brought him coffee. "The kid's okay. They're resilient."
We had a good talk last night about racism, about standing up for yourself, about using authority responsibly. Marcus looked up at his wife. Did I do the right thing? Going back there as an inspector? Jennifer sat down beside him. You did your job. If you hadn't found any violations, nothing would have happened. But you did find violations, which means you protected public health. That he also discriminated against you doesn't change the fact that his restaurant wasn't up to code. Marcus nodded. I keep wondering if another inspector would have found the same violations. Would they? Yes, they were obvious once you started looking. Then you did the right thing. The story hit local news by Monday morning. Upscale Austin restaurant shut down by health inspector it refused to serve. Became a headline that sparked immediate controversy. Some people praised Marcus for holding the restaurant accountable. Others accused him of abuse of power and retaliation. The restaurant's ownership issued a statement claiming the health violations were minor, and that Marcus had been overly harsh because of a misunderstanding about the reservation. They made no mention of discrimination. Marcus's supervisor, Robert Jenkins, called him in for a meeting on Tuesday. Marcus, walk me through the inspection, Robert said, his expression neutral. Marcus went through everything methodically. The violations he'd found, the photographic evidence, the specific health codes that had been violated. He showed Robert that another inspector, Sarah Chen, had conducted the re-inspection after the violations were corrected and had confirmed Marcus's findings were accurate. Robert reviewed the documentation carefully. The inspection was by the book, the violations were real, the scoring was appropriate. But, Marcus prompted, but the optics are complicated. The restaurant's lawyers are claiming you had a personal vendetta. They're threatening to sue the city for harassment. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Let them sue. Discovery will reveal their pattern of discrimination, their substandard food safety practices, and the fact that they were 6 months overdue for inspection anyway. Robert smiled slightly. That's what the city attorney said too. Still, I need to ask, did you conduct that inspection because of what happened to your family? Marcus chose his words carefully. His discrimination made me wonder what other corners he was cutting. If he was willing to violate civil rights laws so blatantly, I thought it was worth checking if he was also cutting corners on health and safety. And I was right. That's fair, Robert said. Though in the future, if you experience discrimination from a business you regulate, you should probably request another inspector handle it. Noted. Marcus agreed. The discrimination complaint moved through official channels. The city's Human Rights Commission investigated, interviewed staff members from Belmont, and uncovered a pattern. Multiple former employees reported that Brian Foster regularly turned away Black and Latino customers, using various excuses. No reservation, dress code violations, already at capacity, private event. Belmont Steakhouse's ownership was fined $15,000 for discrimination. Brian Foster was fired, and the restaurant's reputation never recovered. Within 6 months it closed permanently. Marcus didn't celebrate the closure. He'd achieved what he set out to do, hold a business accountable for health violations and discrimination. But he took no joy in people losing their jobs, or a business shutting down. What he did appreciate was the message it sent. Discrimination had consequences, health code violations had consequences, and people in positions of authority would be held accountable for their actions. 3 months after the incident, Marcus received a letter from a young black woman named Alicia Carter. She'd read about the Belmont case in the news. I wanted to thank you, the letter read. 2 years ago I was denied service at a restaurant in Austin. I was dressed up for my college graduation dinner with my family, and the manager claimed we didn't have a reservation even though I had confirmation. I was humiliated and hurt, but I didn't file a complaint because I thought nothing would happen. Seeing your case, seeing that there were actual consequences, it made me realize I should have reported it. I'm filing a complaint now, 2 years late, but filing it because you showed me that speaking up matters. Marcus read the letter to Jennifer that night. This is why it mattered, he said. Not just for us, but for everyone else who's experienced this. Jennifer squeezed his hand. You taught our kids a valuable lesson too, that you don't have to accept discrimination silently, that using your authority responsibly means standing up for what's right. Caleb and Mia had followed the story closely. They'd seen their father on the news, heard the debates about whether he'd done the right thing, and watched as consequences unfolded. One evening at dinner, Caleb asked, Dad, if you hadn't been a health inspector, what would you have done? Marcus thought about it. I would have filed a discrimination complaint. I would have told our story publicly. I would have encouraged others to avoid that restaurant. The tools would have been different, but I still would have stood up for what was right. But being a health inspector gave you extra power, Mia observed. It did. But power is only good if you use it responsibly. I didn't make up violations to punish Brian Foster. I documented real violations that existed whether I found them or someone else did. So it wasn't revenge? Caleb asked. No, son. It was justice. There's a difference. Years later, Marcus would reflect on that night at Belmont Steakhouse as a turning point, not just because of the inspection or the consequences for discrimination, but because it crystallized his understanding of how to use authority responsibly. Power could be wielded as a weapon, used to punish enemies and reward friends. Or power could be a tool for accountability, applied consistently and fairly to uphold standards everyone should meet. Marcus chose the latter. Always had. always would, and on his 15th anniversary, instead of being celebrated at a fancy steakhouse, he taught his children the most valuable lesson he could, that dignity, justice, and accountability mattered more than any meal ever would.
Thank you very much for listening. Please let us know what you think of this story in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos.